Hey y'all, it's a4J plus Mango, and we have one for y'all today. Mango, wakey wakey! We're making Red Velvety Whoopies!
Ooh, okay. First, we're starting with a box of Red Velvet cake mix. Duncan Hines is Mom's favorite.
True dat. The thing is, the mix is pretty lumpy, so we have to sift it, or else mixing it will be quite the challenge later. If you can't sift the mix easily, use the back of a spoon to help push it through. Alright, the separate bowl will be for our wet ingredients, starting with 2 eggs. Crack them into the bowl and whip it good to get it runny. Now add a tablespoon of coffee liqueur, dark rum, or espresso. I think it makes it more rich. We'll also add half a cup of vegetable oil. I try to use coconut oil to see if the whoopies would be more coconutty. I was wrong. Save a few bucks and just use veggie. Whisk it all together so the oil binds with the eggs. Then pour it into the cake mix and mix with a spatula or a wooden spoon. The mixture should be relatively thick, like a cookie batter. Once it's all incorporated, let the batter sit for about 5 minutes before our next step, scooping.
Ooh, nice! Busting out with the cookie sheet and fancy liner. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees here.
Thanks for the reminder, Mango. So if you have a cookie ice cream scooper, use it. Otherwise, do like me and use this tablespoon scoop. Had we let the batter sit 5 minutes, it wouldn't be this sticky and we'd be able to roll them into a ball. Since we didn't, we just have to try our best to form these little cookies into a round shape.
Woohoo! We got a dozen cookies on this sheet, Mom. Now we gotta bake it in the oven for about 10 minutes at 350 degrees.
Alright, 10 minutes set. In the meantime, let's prepare some cream cheese frosting. We need an 8-ounce package of cream cheese. Also a stick of unsalted butter, both at room temperature. Let's also add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, this would be way easier with a stand mixer, but Mom doesn't have one, so we're using sheer strength instead. It's a little easier using a whisk, but then it clumps together in the middle, so just beat the whisk straight down. Just use any technique until we get the ingredients mixed and fluffy. To this, add a pound of powdered sugar. It's usually this full box. Let's split it into 2 batches or else we'll get powder everywhere. Keep in mind we're only using half of this frosting recipe for the whoopies. Feel free to use the rest for frosting on cupcakes, cake pops, or snacking. Or store in the freezer in a Ziploc bag for a future a4J recipe.
Ooh, here's the special ingredient to our Red Velvet Whoopies. Fresh young coconut. Mommy did the hard part already and drained the coconut water and split the shell in half.
Simply use a spoon to scoop the delicious coconut meat out. Depending on what the coconut meat yields, we'll need about 1 to 3 coconuts. Fortunately, this coconut had a lot of meat, so 1 to 2 would suffice. Don't worry about doing a perfect job on scooping. We can use a spoon to clean off any brown bits. Definitely don't want that in our whoopies. There's a special tool that Grandma uses to scrape the coconut meat, but we're not fancy, so we'll just use the good old chop with our sharp knife. Basically, give it a rough mince. We're putting this through a piping bag, so remember the pieces needs to go through. Alright, to half of our frosting, we'll add about a cup of our minced coconut meat. Mix it up and note, the coconut made this frosting much more runny.
Nice, Mom! Love how you're using the mug to help hold your Ziploc bag up. If only my paws could help you out instead.
Yeah, we're using a Ziploc bag since Mom doesn't have a piping bag. Alright, zip it up and get all the air out and put the frosting in the freezer until we're ready to pipe.
Oh, Mom! Cookies are done, and they smell so good.
We'll have to transfer them over to a cooling rack. Let them cool completely before frosting. Also, if you want to bake the next batch, make sure the cookie sheet isn't super hot either.
Mommy's not looking.
Okay, you don't have to do this, but Mom likes to mash the cookies with another of the same size. Just eyeball or use your fingers to feel around. Oh, I should have also mentioned we won't be able to eat these whoopie sandwiches right away. It's best if the whoopies sit overnight. If you're in a rush, a few hours rest in the refrigerator may be okay. Mom likes to add about 2 tablespoons of frosting onto the cookies. After some experimenting, Mom figured out it's best to pipe frosting onto both sides of the cookie. Refrigerate for about 10 minutes, and then sandwich them together. Otherwise, all that frosting will just ooze out. And yes, we want all that frosting in there to help the cookies get nice and soft and almost like a fudgy consistency.
Ooh, Mom, this is totally worth the wait. I can't imagine the recipe being used without anything but fresh young coconut too. By the way, all my paw friends said they don't like coconut, but they totally love your Red Velvet Whoopies, Mom.
Good stuff. Check out our website at a4J.com for our blog post on Red Velvet Whoopies and get a free copy of this hand-lettered recipe. That's all for Jean and Mango.